Hello, this is zebracode.io, which is a free coding curriculum for high school students, and we're looking at Lesson 7. This is a demo of Lesson 7, and the key concepts are lists, and we're looking at collection of items. We'll start by just doing some basic practice with append and insert, where we add a few numbers to a list of numbers. Then we'll focus where the majority of this demo is going to be to remove all the even numbers and the duplicates within that list. So we'll use the remove method and the count method, and then some additional methods we'll do at the end is sort and length. Now, let's start off with some code. We're going to be doing this in Python Anywhere, and as always, I'm going to be opening up two tabs. The first one is in the Files tab. I go to the Homework folder, then Lesson 7. I'm going to create a new file here called demo1.py, and then that brings up my browser-based editor where I can edit my code. So I'm going to create a list. I'm going to call it capital L. It's a list, and it's going to have some initial numbers. I'm going to put in 12, 18, 21, and 7. So we'll start off with 4 items in the list. And let's do some basic methods, our basic practice with methods. And let's do print L first, and then let's do L.append. And append puts a new item at the end of the list, and we're going to put 15 at the end of the list. And let's go ahead and print L again. So we start off with 4 items, add a 5th, and we should see the basic code. So let's open up our second tab and go to consoles. I'm going to go to a bash console, and once the bash console, the bash prompt loads up with the $, I can start my move to the appropriate file that I just created. I cd into my homework folder, cd into lesson 7, I do a ls to list, and I see that I have demo1.py. So now I can run that code with Python 3 demo1.py, and I get my list of 4 items, and I can see the list after I've appended 15 to that list. So this is working as expected. So now let's do an insert. That's another method we want to get a little bit of practice with. So I'm going to insert in the 0 position the number 7, and again, at the very end, we can print the list again and print L. And let's save this, go to our second tab, use the up arrow, and I can go ahead and execute that again. And here I can see I have my final list here, starting with 7. That's what's inserted into the 0 position. And now it has 6 elements in it as expected. So the bulk of this demo is going to focus on, we want to remove all of the duplicates and remove all the odd numbers. Let's start with the odd numbers. So or even numbers, if the number modulus 2 is equal to 0, then it's even. I can do L.remove in parentheses L. So this seems like it may work, but the problem is as I'm iterating through the list, I'm removing items, and that can get complex and it could lead to unexpected results. So a better way of doing this is to create a delete list. I'm going to call it del list. And as we iterate through, we're going to find all the even numbers, those where modulus x modulus 2 is equal to 0. Those are the even numbers. And now I'm going to append that to a list. I'm going to create a new list. And let's go ahead and run this and just print out the del list. That's the list of all the even numbers. And as we can see, when we run this, we get 12 and 18. Those are all the even numbers. So that's correctly identifying all the even numbers within the list. And now that I've iterated through all the items of the list, identified the even ones, I can now remove them. So how do I do that? I can do for x in the delete list. That's the list we just identified. Those are all the even numbers. I can do L.remove L, and this will then remove all of the even numbers, and let's go ahead and print L at the end of this in line 13. And when we actually print L and we see it executed and run, we can actually see that the list will no longer have any even numbers. So let's run this. Let's clear this to make it a little cleaner so we can start on the top. And now let's go ahead and run Python demo1.py, and we get our list items here, and we can see that all even numbers have been removed. So we can follow this same strategy with removing the duplicates, and the duplicate there is 7. So if I want to remove all the duplicates, let's create a list called dup list for duplicate lists, and initially it's going to be an empty list. Now I'm going to iterate through L. For x in L, I'm going to go through all the items in L. I'm going to see now if L.count. Remember, that count is going to return the number of the times that item appears in the list. So if it's greater than 1, I have a duplicate. And now I can do dup list.append, and this will have all of the items in which there is a duplicate or it appears more than once in the list. So I can print out dub list at the end of this, and let's run and execute this code. And at the very end, we get 7 and 7 because 7 appears in the list twice. As we're iterating through each item, we can get the count of 7, and that's why it shows up twice. So I really only want to remove 7 once from the list, so I can add an additional item. I can test for membership. So if L.count parentheses X is greater than 1, so that means I have duplicates, and I can now also test to see if it's already in the list, and X not in dup list. So the first time it's going to be inserted in, but the second time when I try to insert 7, it's already in the duplicate list, so it's not going to execute this if statement. So if I run this again, I should have 7, but only once, and I can see that that is true. 7 appears only once. So now I have this dup list. I can iterate through L and remove anytime I see, or remove 7, remove it once, so that I'll be removing duplicates. So for X in L, and so I'm iterating through, or excuse me, for X in the duplicate list, that's going to be, in this case, 7. It's only going to be 7 once. Then I can do L.remove. In this case, it's going to be removing the 7. And at the very end, I can print L, and this should give me first I removed all the even numbers, and then secondly, I removed all the duplicates, and now I have 21, 7, and 15. These are just the odd numbers, and I removed all the duplicates, so 7 only appears once. Now, if I had more than 2 7s, for example, if I had 3 or 4, this algorithm would not work. So I'll let you think about that and design a better algorithm that could remove all of the duplicates. But for purposes of this demo, we are removing first all of the even numbers and then the duplicates. The final thing we want to do is let's try to work with the sort and the length method. These are relatively simple. So I can just say L.sort. In this case, the sort method always works on itself. So we just do that, and it's reordered L already just by doing L.sort, as we can see in line 21. And then finally, let's get the length of L, and I'll make this a neat message, or a very clean or defined message. The list has, and that's going to be one string, and then I'm going to take the length, that's the length of L, and I'm going to convert it to a string because I'll be concatenating it with this other string. And then let's finally at the end put the number of items that are on the list, and to be consistent, we'll make both of these single quotes. So we worked with sort, and we work with length, and we print out all of the items, and now we've run this a final time. We get the list sorted. We got 7, 15, and 21, and the list has 3 items at the end. So that's some basic work with lists. We should be comfortable with appending, inserting, with removing, count. We can use list and test for membership. And whenever we're trying to act on the list, we should, one way of doing it is creating a dub list and creating a delete list. We iterate through, find those items, and then actually go through and remove the items in a second step. So that's some basic idea of working with lists. We'll do another demo with importing random numbers. This is zebracode.io, a free coding curriculum for high school students.